Last news is getting answers. We spoke to Captain Eric Hall of the Westfield Police Department. He tells us the department has seen a string of drug overdoses over the past week. Captain Hall saying the department has responded to 6 in the past 7 days, and they've been unable to identify any specific pattern. We spoke with Captain Hall today about the specific nature of the overdoses.
What we've been tracking is usually opiate-based, so either heroin, fentanyl, pills, which again, most of the counterfeit pills right now are primarily fentanyl-based. They're not real pills.
Captain Hall added that thankfully many of the overdoses the department have seen haven't resulted in death, and he credits the use of Narcan for that.
And I think Narcan has played a huge role in most of those. Our officers carry Narcan and are able to administer that on scene when they arrive if it's necessary.
The department reminds everyone to remain vigilant for signs of overdose among your friends and family, to employ precautions and harm reduction strategies, and bear in mind that the Good Samaritan law shields you from prosecution if you contact the police or emergency services during an overdose situation.